It was late afternoon when I got lost on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. The car's GPS had stopped working since I left Sweetwater, and everything around me seemed designed to confuse. Wooden fences, endless cornfields, and a golden sky that made everything look like an old movie. I was driving slowly, window down, the warm afternoon breeze mixing with the smell of wet earth and freshly cut grass. That's when I saw him, standing next to an old rusted blue pickup truck, wearing a straw hat and a t-shirt so tight it couldn't hide his thick, sweaty arm. He looked like he'd stepped out of a rural catalog, or a very specific fantasy. I pulled over slowly. "Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to find my way to Willow Creek." He looked me up and down with a crooked smile, his blue-gray eyes glinting in the sunlight. "You took the wrong shortcut, darlin'. But I can show you the way. Not sure you'll want to go back after, though." That was more than a navigation tip. It was an invitation. His voice was deep, drawling, with that classic Southern accent, part music, part provocation. His name? Caleb Monroe. And the way he said, "show you the way," threw me completely off course. I don't know what happened. I was confused and at the same time struck by the man standing in front of me. I'll admit, I looked him up and down too, taking in every detail. And in that moment, something inside me, almost unconsciously, told me this was the man who'd make me experience something I'd never had the chance to before. Right after, I pushed the thought away and tried to compose myself so he wouldn't notice, and then he walked over to my car and leaned on the doorframe by my side, his strong arms on full display, a huge wrench tucked into the side of his worn-out jeans. "This car of yours looks solid, but sometimes it needs a little tightening here and there." I let out a nervous laugh. "You know your way around these things?" "I do, especially big tools." It took me half a second to catch the double entendre. When I did, I bit my lip without meaning to. I immediately pictured a tool of the kind every woman likes to handle. He noticed. "If you want, I can show you my workshop. It's just over there, past that tree." The tension in the air was thick. "You could cut it with a knife, or with desire. Is it safe? Your workshop?" He leaned in closer. I caught the scent of his sweaty skin mixed with something citrusy, maybe lemon or some rustic soap. "Only if you promise not to fall in love, Miss Carter." How did he know my name? Oh, right. It was written on the tag hanging from my backpack. Still, it gave me chills. A good kind of feeling, a warmth that started creeping up from head to toe, and I couldn't quite understand it, but it all felt unbelievable, happening so naturally and so fast. I decided to follow him. The workshop was an old wooden shed, with amber light filtering through gaps in the ceiling. The air was humid, clinging to my skin. Caleb took off his shirt casually, revealing broad shoulders and a body that looked like it was carved from working the land. "Sit there." He pointed to a workbench. "I want to show you something." I sat down slowly, my heart pounding in my throat. He picked up a wrench, not the one from his waist, but another, even bigger, and started explaining something about engines. But I wasn't listening anymore. I was just watching the way the muscles in his forearm flexed with every turn, how the sweat trickled slowly down the line of his ribs. With every sentence, his voice got deeper, closer, more intimate. "You know, some things only work right when they fit together tight. And I really wanted that tool to do the job I was thinking about. I wanted to do a real special job with it, make him real happy, and of course, satisfy my curiosity, fulfill this hidden, unfulfilled desire to see, taste, and feel something over 8 inches. I don't know if it was the workshop, the smell of oil and wood, or the way he was looking at me, but that night I found a shortcut that wasn't on any map, and I've never been able to forget the way back. Caleb came closer, slowly. Each step echoed on the workshop's wooden floor, like time was slowing down just to make it last longer. He stopped right in front of me, his eyes locked on mine, and ran his index finger slowly along the side of my neck, like he was checking the temperature of something about to boil. "See?" he murmured, with a faint smile. "It's already just right." His hand was warm, calloused. When it touched my chin, he lifted my face with a gentleness that was surprising for someone with such strong hands. His thumb brushed lightly over my bottom lip, and that was more electric than any kiss could have been. My eyes closed instinctively, my body on high alert, like every nerve had woken up at once. "You're holding back," he whispered, close enough that the heat of his words mingled with my breath. But why? The answer got stuck in my throat. My heart was beating so hard it felt like it might burst out of my chest. And in that suspended silence, he pulled back. Not far. Just enough to grab a towel, wipe the sweat from his neck, and toss it onto the workbench. But that gesture, that pause, it set me on fire even more. He knew exactly what he was doing. Caleb then pulled a chain hanging from the ceiling. A warmer, yellower light came on, bathing the workshop in an almost orange glow. Shadows danced on the wooden walls as he leaned against an old metal cabinet, arms crossed. "You want to stay, Emily?" The question wasn't just about location. It was loaded with intent, like he was giving me a choice: cross that line or head back to the road. I stood up slowly, the floor creaking under my feet. I walked toward him until I was just inches away. His scent now was a mix of sweat, grease, and desire. The kind of smell that sticks to your skin and doesn't let go. "I do," I answered, looking straight into his eyes. I felt a different kind of connection, quick and strong, and I realized he didn't kiss me right away. No. Caleb was the type who made the wait worth it. He ran his fingers along the side of my arm, from my shoulders to my waist, and pulled me firmly against his chest. Feeling the heat of his skin through my clothes was already more than any direct touch could be. We stood there, surrounded by hanging tools, the smell of rust, and the faint hum of crickets outside. The whole world seemed to stop existing. There was only that moment, caught between tension and surrender. The kiss. And then I asked about his tool. He said, "It's 10 inches, and I told him, "Pull it out so I can give it some attention." And so he did. And I started working it, up and down, steadily picking up the pace, waiting for him to let it all out over me. Then I said, "Now come here," heating him up again, putting him on edge. When it finally happened, it wasn't rushed. It was slow, firm, deep, the way I like it. And I realized everything was being filled, and what he said was true. I'd never experienced anything like that before. After a few minutes, it was my turn to explode. Like he knew it was the kind of thing I'd hold on to forever. And he was right. That night, in that wooden shed at the end of a forgotten road, showed me that sometimes the best paths are the ones you don't plan. And since then, I've learned that a big tool can work wonders, but it's not easy to find. And ever since, every time I hear the name Willow Creek, my body reacts before the memory even hits.